Good evening and welcome to Match of Tomorrow, a programme in which we meet the principal people involved in the FA Cup final and perhaps uncover a clue or two to help find the winners. I shall be talking to both managers, Graham Taylor and Howard Kendall, from their team hotels. Everton in the calm of Buckinghamshire and Watford cocooned on their own and Wembley's doorstep. Bob Wilson meets the Watford players and Tony Gubba those from Everton. And we meet the most unusual chairman in the league, Watford's Elton John, for whom this year 2 dreams have come true, so far that is.
This is going to be some day, and win or lose, we're going to enjoy it.
At Wembley, the old stadium is still. Most of the preparations have been concluded, the tickets disposed of, the stadium and the pitch meticulously prepared, while the ghosts of past finals seem to hover around the empty seats. Everton and Watford will add another chapter to the legend. For 3 years running now, the finals have ended in a draw, and on paper, tomorrow's final appears to be tighter than any. Let's see what we can unravel, and to kick off, Bob Wilson looks at Everton's style and strengths.
What must be, must be.
Whether wearing the blue of Everton or, as in this case, the red of Wales, Kevin Ratcliffe's influence will always be a key factor. Defensively, he shows terrific presence. No diving in here, but rather a perfectly timed steal of the ball. Then one quick look, and a nicely weighted pass catches the Yugoslav defence square and unawares to leave Robbie James with an inviting opening. It's to Wales' benefit that right behind Ratcliffe in defence is his Everton colleague Neville Southall, without question the most improved keeper around. He too is a good communicator, but this season it's been the quality of his saves which has constantly frustrated opponents, turned games in Everton's favour and generally inspired the men in blue. Then there's the man who wears the number 6 shirt, Peter Reid. Plagued for 5 years by a succession of injuries, broken leg, broken kneecap, knee ligament and cartilage problems, Peter's talent, which has never been in dispute, is again flourishing.
Higgins got a touch, and it was turned in by Reid.
That goal looks simple enough, but Peter Reid has a priceless ability to time runs from midfield perfectly, so that he arrives in the box unannounced and unexpected. The Goodison faithful will certainly expect Reid to dominate the Wembley midfield battle, and coming up again from the 5th round win against Shrewsbury, an example of his coolness under pressure. With bodies everywhere, he calmly spots and finds Irving. The £60,000 transfer fee paid to Bolton for Reid is a snippet compared to the Everton record fee of £700,000 which brought little Adrian Heath to Goodison from Stoke. And he, perhaps, has benefited most from Everton's dramatic change in fortunes and confidence.
One mistake has put Adrian Heath in, and he scored.
One of 18 goals from Everton's top scorer and taken with typical awareness, mobility and balance. That was a Milk Cup quarter-final, and Heath showed the same sharpness in the FA Cup semi-final against Southampton, cleverly steering a ball which rears off the surface, back and beyond Peter Shilton. But of all the Everton players, it's the experienced and battle-hardened Andy Gray who could point them in the right direction. Andy's presence always commands special attention. See how he attracts 2 Notts County players here, leaving Richardson totally unmarked. Now Gray, playing in yellow this time, finds the most dangerous space with his header for Kevin Sheedy to score. Typical Andy Gray, powerful, bustling and often unorthodox.
And Andy Gray has scored!
Well, the players who've transformed Everton's season from winter misery to spring joy. And we meet those players now in their team hotel. Tony Gubba in attendance.
A 4-hour coach journey from Liverpool brought Everton to their team hotel in the countryside of Buckinghamshire just before 7 o'clock this evening. And Howard Kendall's team are clearly not superstitious. It's exactly the same journey and hotel that they used before the Milk Cup final against Liverpool, which they lost after a replay. But this time, of course, Andy Gray isn't cup-tied and can play. The hotel has no Eve of FA Cup tradition. No other team has ever used it. As these Everton players checked in tonight, they were still chuckling about the joke that had turned the tables on the team's comedian, fullback John Bailey, who'd surprised manager Howard Kendall before the Milk Cup final with a kissogram.
Well, if things have gone to plan, John, you were probably providing all the entertainment on the coach journey down. Not really. We had a strange coach. We didn't have any videos on, so we couldn't really have a laugh. I usually get a couple of funny videos, and we quite usually, usually have a laugh. And unfortunately, we left a bit early this afternoon, and I couldn't get down to my joke shop to get what I wanted. So,
what did you want?
Well, I left a few masks and bits and pieces, a few little jokes I was going to play on, but the boss got the last laugh on me anyway, because as we were going out, the Milk Cup final previously, I got a kissogram set up for him as we went onto the coach. And he just got his own back at me. He got a 22-stone kissogram, and she actually picked me up and kissed me. So that was quite a shock. So they're getting their own back on me at the moment. So I better be careful tonight.
Well, this was at Belfield when you 3 o'clock?
Yeah, this is as we were leaving. I was winding the boss up saying, I've got another kissogram here. And I said, I'm only joking. As soon as I walked out of the gate, this 22-stone woman got out the car and suspended the belt and everything, so it was quite a shock. She picked me and Adrian Heath up at once, so she must have been a big girl.
Was she pretty?
Oh, she was a darling. One of the Grafton girls, I think, yeah.
Well, it's a nice way to arrive on the eve of a cup final, though, joking and jolly, and the manager joining in.
Yeah, I knew he'd get his own back, but that's the way the mood we're in at the moment. We're all very relaxed, and there'll be quite a few more jokes by the end of the evening. Last time I went upstairs before the Milk Cup final, I had no legs on my bed, so I don't know what the lads are planning tonight.
Well, Andy, you're the only man on the field who'll have the experience of having won a cup final at Wembley and scored the winning goal.
It would be nice to think that would happen again tomorrow, Tony, and obviously I'm hoping it will do. But the fact that the lads have been there already this season has been a big boost for them, and I'll probably be a little bit more nervous than they will come the day.
Heck of a disappointment for you, because of course you couldn't play in the Milk Cup final, could you, because you were cup tied?
That's right. It was very disappointing, very frustrating more than disappointing. But I'm pleased that we've got there again.
I think some of your friends are calling you. Well, Inch, you're clearly not superstitious, because this is the same hotel where you stayed the night before the Milk Cup final.
No, I think we'll set up a playing half as well as we did that day. But no superstitions. We've trained this morning, had a good journey down, a few laughs, and just generally have a meal now and go off to bed.
What, an early night, is it?
Yeah, it's always an early night.
There's a dinner downstairs tonight.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
You better give that on this side.
Yeah, I'm sure the manager might find himself in there a bit later, but no, it'll be early night for the lads.
I wonder how the memory of that defeat will affect Everton. Is it an advantage, perhaps, or a disadvantage?
Oh, it's an advantage for us, actually, because, we know what defeat's like in the final, so we don't want to experience it again.
Obviously not superstitious.
No, not at all. Not at all.
What now? Good night's sleep, a good meal?
I think we're going out, actually.
I'll read about it in the papers tomorrow if you do. Everton's evening meal was taken in a private room. The players not joining the club directors who were attending the hotel Friday night dinner dance. And the players sleeping in a quiet wing of the hotel, well away from noise and music. Their only worry tonight is what tricks and surprises is John Bailey planning.
As long as he's not let loose in this studio, I don't mind. Well, now to Watford, whose astonishing rise to glory has taken place not without comment concerning their style. They're winning most of the arguments, though, these days, but still haven't dismissed their fundamental beliefs, which might start with the ball in the goalkeeper's hands. This is Steve Sherwood, Watford's sometimes maligned goalkeeper. Often unjustly in my view, but his powerful kicking creates more goals than he gives away. I know it'll shock the purists to think that kicking from hands is more productive than throwing, but the facts prove otherwise, and the pictures. Here's a goal of the month contender. Sherwood kicks. The lanky Riley puts Blake under pressure, and Watford gain possession where it counts. And then it's ability and flair that turns a half chance into certainty.
Oh, lovely skill. And what a magnificent goal!
And no one does it better than Barnes. And Alan Parry described that goal as rare classic style. And it was. It also arose from a long ball and a fighting repossession. Watford's players are encouraged to clear without fuss. This avoids providing opponents with gift chances, but requires front players to fight hard for possession. Riley heads away, Jacket gives it the boot, and Johnston has the chance to learn what being a fighting forward means. No frills, that is, but sound, tactical common sense. Getting the ball away quickly and winning possession is only half the battle. It's an overture to the skillful concerto to follow. Barnes in possession, bamboozles Spurs, and a clear penalty results. So get the ball into the opponent's half without frills, and let skill have its head. But there's another scoring secret coming up. Sherwood initiates again. Barnes collects on his chest, fights off 3 men to keep possession, but when Johnston gets his cross in, there's a posse of players in for the kill. Both Barnes and Riley, who heads wide, challenge in the centre, but the vital man is the far winger, Callahan, in there by the far post. If the cross penetrates, he can hardly miss. Now let's put all the parts together. Sherwood again, Riley challenges, Jackett, Johnson and Barnes play their regular battling roles and gain the ball and the space for Barnes to exercise his considerable ability. When the cross comes, 3 players pounce for the kill, 2 in the centre, and Callahan having got up on the far post. Well, the referee didn't give a goal there, but that move tells you most of what you need to know about the style and scoring power that's taken Watford to the top of the football tree and to Wembley. And tonight, to a hotel on the doorstep, from which Bob Wilson reports.
Well, the Watford Hotel is unlike many that have housed cup finalists before. Traditionally, cup final teams are tucked away in some sort of rural area. But not so with Watford. They've chosen a hotel which lies alongside the busy A41 out of front, and at the back of the hotel, the even busier M1. Significantly, this hotel is really only a few miles from Wembley Stadium. They think that it'll take about 20-25 minutes to get to the ground tomorrow. So why have they chosen this hotel? Well, as you know, Watford are a very friendly club. They look after people who look after them. And this hotel has looked after Watford over a period of many years. The block behind me, which contains the players' rooms, also has a lovely games room on the first floor there behind those curtains. And they have plenty of space and plenty of time to relax and enjoy themselves. The team moved in here on Thursday afternoon, and as you can see, they really are very relaxed. Most of the players' spare time is spent in the recreation room, and what an atmosphere you'll find. Laughter and music fill the air and disguise any nerves the Watford lads may feel. Even the youngest player on view, 18-year-old Lee Sinnott. Lee, do you have any worries at all about being the youngest player on that Wembley pitch?
No, not really. I mean, I'm just looking forward to it. It suits me fine being the youngest player on there. I mean, it's a challenge for me, and people watching will realise I'm the youngest player, so I'll just treat it as a challenge.
At this moment, the nerves haven't got to you in any way?
No, not really. I still don't think I'm playing there tomorrow. I mean, we trained there on Wednesday, and that was the first, you know, little inkling that I thought I'd be playing there. But it hasn't sunk in yet. I mean, I'll realise it when I go out there, I think.
You could say that in this room the players are sharpening their competitive edge, because the rivalry in the various activities is terrific, whether it be on the video game, the table tennis table, or in the pool competition. And for those who just want to sit and be by themselves, there are films, match action, or the latest videos. And what about the game from your point of view, going out, leading them out?
Well, obviously it's fantastic from my point of view. It's everybody's dream to play at Wembley, but to actually have the chance of lifting the cup is a bonus for me. And obviously under the circumstances I would have liked to have done it differently because of Will Frostring. But I'm looking forward to it tremendously.
So as you can see, a very relaxed Watford camp. There are no injury worries. David Bardsley's fine, so too is Mo Johnson. Just one decision, it seems, has to be made, and it has to be made by Graham Taylor, and it has to be made about these boots that I'm holding. They were bought by Graham for £2 2 and 6 when he was manager of Lincoln about 10 years ago. He's had them ever since, but decided to get rid of them at the beginning of this season, and rightly so. There are no studs there. There's a great big hole in the side. Now, Watford's season started disastrously, so Graham retrieved the boots, and since then, well, of course, they've finished up at Wembley. So Graham believes that if anything deserves to get to Wembley, it is this old pair of boots. So will he walk out there in his best suit wearing this grotty old pair of boots? Well, do you know, judging by the shine on them, I really fancy that might be the case.
Well, whatever happens tomorrow, £2 2 and 6 seems a bargain to me. Well, now it's time to meet the two men who tomorrow will savour perhaps the best moment in a manager's life, walking out in front of their teams into that cauldron of emotion, and also who underneath will be under the severest pressure, Graham Taylor and Howard Kendall. First, Howard Kendall, how have you spent today?
Well, I had to finish off with a little bit of shopping this morning, Jim. It was the first opportunity of the week that I'd had. I arrived at the training ground about lunchtime. We had the players out for a light training session at about 1:30, and we left at 3 o'clock.
Graham Taylor, how has it been for you?
Well, we're fortunate, Jim. It's been the usual day for us. We're here at Watford, and we did our usual Friday morning session, and been in the hotel this afternoon, quite enjoying ourselves.
Happy with the mood and the atmosphere in your camp?
Very much so, yes.
What about you, Howard?
Yes, I'm delighted, really, that we didn't pick any last-minute injuries or whatever up, because we have a depleted squad at the moment. We were down to 13 fit players.
There's been a lot of talk about this being a cup final of styles, and I know in Graham's case it's been reported that he's already objected to what was written in the Wembley programme. Are you more sensitive about that, Graham, than you need be?
I don't really know. I think that the headlines are far bigger than they need be in this morning's newspapers. What, in fact, I was asked, Jim, was what my feelings were as regards certain sentiments expressed in the Wembley programme. And very sensibly and calmly, I said I was somewhat disappointed. In this morning's papers, I read that I'm in a fury.
What did it say
there's
in the
really
Wembley
little
programme?
I can do about the newspaper headlines.
No, what did it say in the Wembley programme?
Well, it's talking simply about the fact that some of our critics, and once again, the word critics is used, but nobody is ever named, that the ball is stretched off and that it's a kick and rush style. And I would think that when you have reached the Wembley Cup final, they're the least kind of things that you expect from what should be a good publication. I was asked a question and I just said that I was somewhat disappointed. I was asked if I'd complained to the Football Association, and of course said that I hadn't and wouldn't be doing so. But unfortunately this morning's papers, as I say, report me as being in a fury, and of course that's quite inaccurate.
And we know it's not you to be in a fury because you're not that kind of person.
Well, I don't know about that.
Howard, I wouldn't be at this point of time anyway. Howard, style, we're talking about style. How would you describe the Everton style, and what things do you believe in particularly as a manager?
Well, the Everton style, I mean, we've got players who like to play and like to get forward. I think we attack as well as we possibly can at all times, at the right times. It's different to Graham's style, but that doesn't mean to say that one is right and one is wrong. I think it depends on the players you've got in your side, and it depends on how you play.
It's said that you play wingers, but I mean, I don't see what might be called wingers in the team, on the team sheet.
We don't play wingers. I've got Terry Curran and Alan Irvine who are unfit and can't be selected. We've also got Kevin Sheedy, who is a natural left-sided player. He's unfit also. So really we've had to cope with setbacks, really, in the build-up to the final.
So what you're saying, really, is that you fit the style to the players, and every manager does that?
I think so. I mean, if you ask Graham, he lost the big boy Jenkins a few seasons ago, and he's replaced him with Riley, a player of similar styles. And he's fitted into the Watford system, and I think this is what you've got to try and do. I think the danger is if you pick up a style and try and adopt it, but you haven't got the players to do it.
Graham, what things do you believe in as a manager with regard to team play? Basics, I mean.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Jim, it's all about understanding. It's a business of working for one another. You see, there's a lot of nonsense spoken about styles. A lot of myths have been created about football. Football hasn't changed. If you have got the ball, then you've got to pass well, you've got to get into shooting positions, and you've got to try and score goals. If you haven't got the ball, you've got to be able to chase, you've got to be able to tackle, you've got to be able to win the ball back. And that's been football ever since it started, and it's the same now. Now, those are basics, and those are the basic principles. And as I say, there's a lot of nonsense spoken outside of the game, unfortunately, about styles and about tactics. Football is a very, very simple game, and if you look to go to attack, as Howard says, at the right time, and you look to defend at the right time, that's how it's always been anyhow.
Well, apart from a win, of course, what would you both most want from the game tomorrow? Howard first.
Well, I'm just hoping, really, our fans come down to London once more and enjoy their weekend here, enjoy the game. I'm sure the Watford fans will do exactly the same thing. People are saying, well, the most important thing is to get to Wembley, but I honestly believe that once you're there, you've got to try and win it. The winning of it is really important for us because it would mean European qualification. It would also mean a return to Wembley to play Liverpool in the Charity Shield. So those two things will take care of itself if we win tomorrow, and that is the aim.
Graham?
I want to see Everton and Watford supporters with their arms around one another, both before and after the game, and I want in years to come people to think back, whoever won the game, and say what one hell of a game that was, what a cup final it was. And then at the end of the day, I think I'll be very happy and very satisfied.
And so say all of us. Thank you both very much indeed, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Graham. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you. See you tomorrow, Howard.
The managers under the greatest pressure on the day. But in general these days, it's the chairman who carry the financial burdens who suffer most. Everton's Phil Carter has emerged as a potential leader in the Cannon League and is opposing Jack Dunnett for the presidency at this year's AGM. He's calm, logical, unpretentious, and a million miles away from the footlights under which Watford's chairman Elton John is standing at this very moment in Berlin. on his European tour. I met him just recently.
Riley's coming towards the near post. Oh, he got a flick and it's there!
This year, a spectacular double for Elton, going up Olympic way with Watford and up the aisle with his German bride Renata. And don't they just love that, down Watford way?
Well, Elton, 2 dreams have come true in 1 year. Which do you enjoy most?
Well, that's a very hard question. I mean, it is an unbelievable year for me. I would have to say my marriage, because on the long term, that's otherwise the wife would hit me as soon as I step out the door. But I'm just pleased for everybody at this club that we've had. We had a pretty disastrous start to the season because of things out of our control, injury situation, and it's marvellous. It's marvellous.
What a smile from the young musical prodigy. Strangely, his uncle Roy Dwight went to Wembley 25 years ago, scored a goal, and sadly broke a leg.
In black. Wilson's in the middle. Dwight's hanging back. Get it right now.
But young Elton Hercules John was to choose another route to the same destination.
When did your passion for Watford start?
Many years ago. When I was about 5 or 6, I used to come here with my dad. And I was born in Pinner, which is about 4 miles away. And they've always been my team, so it's not like picking on one team. And God, I followed them through the 50s and 60s, the Cliff Holton days, and the Barry Endine days, and the Ken Furphy days. And then my career took off, so I didn't really see much after that. And I actually just did an interview with a girl called Julie Webb for the New Musical Express in 1972 or 3. I can't remember where it is now, but what year it was. It all happened so quickly. Anyway, I did, and she said, "You're a Watford supporter?" I said, "Yes." I said, "I don't really go much these days." And this, by the way, is when I'm wearing shoes like that and had hair that's pink and orange.
Yes, I mean, conventionally dressed.
Yeah, yes, quite yes. So I thought, yeah, let's do a charity concert. It was her idea. So I approached Jim Bonzer, who was the late chairman, and the board of directors. And actually, they didn't bat an eyelid, you know. I expected them to, I was quite, step into a boardroom. I never hardly sat in the stand, let alone go into the boardroom. And so I walked through the door, and they didn't bat an eyelid. I was 6'3" then, and now I'm 5'8". We did the concert. Rod helped me out on a couple of things. Nazareth played. We raised £20,000, and I became a vice president. And because I was bitten by the people behind the club that were so nice to me, I mean, they might have laughed their heads off when I walked out the door, which is from human nature. I probably would have done. But they were very kind to me, very nice, and I got involved with a set of people that were different to the set of people I've been involved with in my career.
But before Elton could produce a stadium full of this kind of atmosphere and enthusiasm, he knew he had to put together a talented and resourceful management team. First was Bertie Mee, manager of Arsenal's 1971 double-winning team. He became general manager. Then Eddie Plumley was recruited from Coventry City, under my nose, to be chief executive. Finally, though, the coup de grace was securing Graham Taylor.
In the first 2 years, anyway, he did everything. And he took one look when he walked down the steps at this club and think, Christ, what do I let myself in for here, you know? Because we were really a rat bags of a setup. It's a bunch of people, and we enjoy it. And I think we're a pretty friendly... I wouldn't really want to get involved with anything that I didn't enjoy. I mean, success is wonderful, but getting it in a ruthless and dishonest way, which can sometimes happen in football, as you and I know.
But the club does have a very warm reputation for doing things in the right way, so your fears there are unfounded, really.
Yeah, well, we made a pact then. We said, listen, no under the table money, none of this. No, you know.
Oh, it's marvellous. The cost to you in time, we understand a little bit of that. What about money?
Well, it's on a loan basis, you know. I've lent the club money, and I've had to do that. I mean, in order to sort of fulfil the dream of getting to the second division, let alone the first. We said second division 5 years when Graham came here, and we did it slightly quicker than that. But I've probably put in about £1.34 million of my own money as far as loaning. I could have, but yes. If I wanted to sell the team, I'd probably get more of it back. But that's, at the moment, it's...
probably get it back on Barnsley if you want to sell it originally.
Yeah, that's not... Yeah. But I see most of that money, I spent £850,000. That was necessary just for safety regulations. Just getting the ground back to a safety level of getting 28,000 people in here. And when we got in the second division, those laws come into action, and you've got to spend a lot of money doing that. And to accumulate, you've got to speculate. And that's right, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, but it's a miracle up to now with you. Last season, second in the first division, which is a remarkable achievement. This year in the cup final. Where do you see it going from now on? I mean, is the area big enough to compete with Liverpool, Manchester United, Tottenham, Arsenal?
No,
Are you getting the
I don't think
support
I don't think we'll ever be a Tottenham or a Manchester United or an Arsenal. I just want us to be a Watford. I want a club that is a family club. I think most people in the first division would say that we've got some of the friendliest supporters. Anyone who misbehaves are out. I want somewhere where it's safe to be a family of people.
This interview will be going out on the Friday night before the cup final, when you will actually be on stage in Berlin.
I'll be in Berlin, yes. And then we're flying back straight away afterwards to Luton, to Luton Airport. And the next day, I shall honestly say that will probably be the most nervous I've ever been in my life. Because on stage, I'm nervous. I pace up and down before I go on, but I'm in control of it. And I'm the same if it's a reserve game or a first team game, whatever. My wife will have to be holding my hand throughout. But I can honestly say, on the day of the semi-final, I got up at 6 o'clock and was washing my smalls out in the hotel because I couldn't sleep. This is going to be some day. And win or lose, we're going to enjoy it.
Will you cry when Graham Taylor comes on the field ahead of the team?
That was the fourth division attitude we used to have. I would get very emotional. I would probably there would be a tear somewhere. But when I look back on, there's some pictures in the boardroom of me in the fourth division days and third. We've grown up a little bit since then. I remember I was sitting down with Graham saying, "Oh, if we ever got to Wembley, I'd run down with the cup and run around the field." I wouldn't do that now. No.
I don't think you do that. I don't think you'll stop crying.
No, I think there'd be a tear in that. It'd be wonderful. I mean, when I got the video of the semi-final and saw all those supporters, yeah, it's fantastic. All power to them.
Elton John, remembering those supporters who, like himself, share a passion for football and particularly for Watford. So we've met most of the personalities involved in tomorrow's national occasion. We wish them all a memorable day, and you can make sure you get the maximum enjoyment by joining Grandstand on BBC One at 11 o'clock for a varied mixture of fun and frolics. Ride on the Everton Express with us and on the Watford team coach. Pit your wits against those of Lucinda Green and Derek Warwick in a question of sport. Back a winner at Newbury, and also enjoy the whole match live from 3 o'clock. Oh, I nearly forgot, you'll find out which goal Laurie McMenemy and Bobby Charlton chose as the goal of the season. The final 3 goals coming up will tell you the winner tomorrow in Cup Final Grandstand, beginning at 11 o'clock. You'll have to wait a little longer for the result of Everton-Watford, unless you've guessed already. Good night.